After understanding the meaning of total utility, we have to understand the meaning of marginal utility. Marginal utility is basically the additional utility gained on consuming one additional unit of the commodity. Like we talked about one example in total utility, say 5 units. After consuming 5 units, I am getting say utility of 20 utils. Suppose I consume the 6th chapati and now my total utility is say 24 utils. So 4 utils is the marginal utility. You can also say that it is the rate at which total utility is changing if total consumption is changed by 1 unit. Numerically, we will try to understand how total utility and marginal utility are related. First of all, you can just see the formula. Marginal utility at any unit can be calculated by this using this formula. Total utility at that unit minus the total utility at the previous unit. Or you can say change in total utility upon change in units consumed when you change this only by 1 unit. That's why I said it is the rate at which the TU changes if consumption is changed by 1 unit. Then numerically, suppose these are the units consumed. Say total utility and marginal utility. See why I have drawn marginal utility first, that we will talk about in the second topic. Right now, totally it simply shows that when I consume 1 unit, I get the total utility of 10 units. From the second unit, I get for 8 utils and so on. So total utility after consuming both the units is equal to 10 plus 8, that is 18 units. After consuming the third one, it's equal to 25 units, then 30 units, 32 units, 32 units and 30 units. This is basically the relation between total utility and marginal utility. You total up the marginal utilities of all the units and you will get the total utility. Or the formula which we were using, 18 minus 10, 8 units, this minus this, and you can use the formula to form total utility from marginal utility or marginal utility from total utility. Now we basically have to talk about this aspect. Why I have decreased the marginal utility, why it is diminishing. To understand that, and that is the reason why I drew marginal utility first. I have to always make it diminishing and from it derive the total utility. Then you must be observing that 0 and it can also be negative. Now we will talk about this particular fact. This is according to the law of DMU. Which says that as you consume more and more units, the marginal utility of every successive unit goes on diminishing. Simply understand, suppose you were playing a game, say football, in a particular field, come back to your home feeling thirsty, maybe 1 glass of water you consume and you feel very happy and you consume the other glass, right? Then maybe the third glass too, but you can drink only half of it, not more than that. So basically whenever you have a want, it has some intensity. Like when you wake up in the morning, you feel hungry, so there is an intensity of that particular want. If you skip the breakfast, then by the afternoon you will be more hungry. Okay, that is showing the intensity of the particular want or a desire. So once you start consuming that commodity, this desire starts decreasing. Well, that is the reason the first unit consumed of any commodity would give you the maximum satisfaction. For example, say you like pizzas. So maybe when you consume the first unit of pizza, you like it and you agree for the second unit. Maybe for the third too, you love it. But at a point, you would say no to it because the intensity of that particular want is decreasing, and it is for all the commodities. This is a universal law applicable to consumption of all the commodities. So once you have to, if you have to define what does this law state, so you have to mention that the law of diminishing marginal utility or the law of DMU states that the marginal utility of every successive unit goes on diminishing. This law has certain assumptions. Like all other laws, there are certain assumptions to this law. The first assumption being continuous consumption. Means you are not breaking the consumption. Continuously, one after the other, you are consuming the units. Like for example, if you are taking 4 chapatis in the breakfast, or say maybe you would say no chapati in the breakfast, say slice of bread. Okay, and maybe say 2 slices of bread in the evening. So you cannot compare these. You can compare continuously 1, 2, 3, 4. These units and 1 and 2. These units. If you see the MU here would be diminishing, but here it may be more than the 4th unit, right? Because the intensity has developed once again. This is the basic assumption that continuously you have to consume the commodity. Like if you are made to eat one pizza, say in the morning, then maybe you agree for the second one in the afternoon and maybe for the third or the fourth one by the night. Then next is homogeneous goods. Homogeneous goods mean that the goods should be identical in all aspects, in taste. Like suppose if you are talking about a pizza, not first a veg, then a non-veg, then some other flavor of a pizza, so they should be similar. Like if you talk about chapatis, so same type of chapatis. Then third is the standard units. Standard units means you have to measure the units like this. Say a glass of water and not a bucket of water, and say plate of rice and not a grain of rice. Similarly here, not a drop of water. Okay, you have to take the standard units only, then the law would be applicable, otherwise not. So these are 3 important assumptions. One more important assumption is that the consumer should be rational. The consumer should be rational. Rational means that he should be mentally sound. Or you can say he should be logical. Reasoning. He should have the reasoning power, and he should try and achieve the equilibrium. He should think how he is spending the money. So then the next topic of discussion would be the relation between total utility and marginal utility. So as we have discussed in our law of DMU, like suppose first of all I will just tell you what to mark on the axis. Here is x-axis shows the units consumed, y-axis shows total utility and marginal utility. So marginal utility always diminishes. And from here you have to mark a point, a dotted line. Till this point TU would rise, after this it would fall. From the diagram we can see that marginal utility starts diminishing its maximum here when the commodity is consumed. As we consume more and more units, marginal utility decreases and total utility rises. When the marginal utility is 0, here it is touching the x-axis, here the marginal utility is 0. At that point total utility is maximum. This point is also known as saturation point. Means if the consumer consumes after this point, then his total utility will start decreasing. Okay, or you can say that the aim of the consumer equilibrium, which is to maximize the satisfaction, will not be fulfilled beyond this. If it is a rational consumer, he has to stop at this particular point. Important things to note in this particular relation, if a question is asked what is the relation between TU and MU, so this diagram you have to represent, and you have to mention that both TU and MU are related to one another. The first point could be that MU is the slope of TU at every point, because it is the rate at which TU is changing, already discussed. Then next is MU continuously diminishes. Then becomes 0 and then negative. Third point could be TU rises till MU is positive. We can see till the point MU is positive, TU is rising. Then TU is maximum when MU is 0. And the last point could be that TU falls when MU is negative. This, as we already discussed, is also the saturation point. So these are the various points which you have to write if a question is asked. Explain the relation between TU and MU. And also it can be explained with the help of a schedule which we have already seen.